Welcome back to Phillip Island. The continuing action from the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championships presented by Motul. We have 2 races left on today's program. The Yamaha R3 Cup, the third and final race, and also the Superbike Masters. That is going to be a spectacle, surely not to be missed. And R3 Cup is out on the grid, ready to go. Red flag has left the grid. Warm-up lap has started. So 4.45 kilometres to warm those tyres up and get ready for what is sure to be 7 hectic laps. Braxy, welcome back to the commentary box. If the weekend so far is anything to go by, this is going to be an extremely close race. And even coming out of turn 12, we're not going to know who the winner is.
Not going to know the winner is until they cross the line, as in the previous 5 races in this 300cc category with the Supersport 300 and the R3 Cup. And be interesting to see how Glenn Nelson has managed to bounce back literally after that coming together with Jonathan Narvos in that very, very dramatic Supersport 300 race a couple of hours ago.
Well, they'd rehearsed that the lap before, and then they actually pulled it off the lap later.
I don't know if Glenn would agree with you, but a very good sign of sportsmanship between the two. When JJ went up and went, "Oh, sorry, mate, it was a bit of my fault." Yeah, okay, righto, yeah, okay.
So Glenn Nelson's back, and he will start from pole position with Henry Snell, who's been exceptional this weekend, starting out at position number 2, and Varis Fleming, who's also been very fast out of position number 3. Teo Aksu has been on fire all weekend. Brody Gorwith and also Cameron Dunker start out of row 2.
And row 3, we've got Brandon Demery in his once-a-year wildcard ride before he heads to England. Laura Brown, Jim Russo, Joe Russo, then Liam Waters, Hayden Nelson, and Clay Clegg rounding out row number 4. Then we've got Sam Pizzetta, Jamie Porter, DNS, and we'll see if JJ Nowler starts from 15th position on the grid, but I expect him to be out there.
Row 6 will be Cooper Roundtree, Mitch Simpson and Lincoln Knight. And a massive field of Supersport 300 and also Yamaha Finance R3 Cup competitors here this weekend. So many junior riders making their way up from the junior ranks as well too, Braxy. It's great to see, and then populating this 300 Supersport field along with the R3 Cup as well.
It's great to see that the juniors have been strong for a few years, and it's just got stronger with the introduction of the OJC back in 2019. And just a side note, the start of this weekend is someone you might know from racing, Stacey Van Wettering, who's been up there on the overpass there at Phillip Island, turning the lights on and off. But yeah, this will be a cracker. The wind out there now, it seems to have dropped off a little bit, but during the start of that Superbike race, it was just belting down the pit straight here, and the speeds were down some 10-15 kilometres an hour on the Superbike boys from Matty Walters doing 310 in that opening lead this morning. Lucky to get 300 k's out of it this afternoon.
Yeah, I think he got 303 in a slipstream one lap, and that was about the fastest anyone did in the whole race. So
he got 310.
No, I'm talking about in that race.
Oh, in that race, yeah.
The earlier race was the 310, I think, wasn't it? So,
and you know, he's looking after Jamie Jacobs as well. He's giving him a bit of coaching as well, who was in that...
He's in the back of the Kawasaki Connection pit box.
Yep. But here we go in the starter's hands.
So, red flag about to leave the front of the grid. Points towards the red lights. We're ready to go racing. Yamaha Finance R3 Cup final race for the weekend. R3 Cup is go. Good start from Snell in position number 2 as they make their way down towards turn 1 for the first time. Cameron Dunker has been lightning off the start. Has he been able to do it again? Look for bike number 3. Looks like he's getting swamped actually as they come down towards turn 1. Jay Russo's got a pretty good start on bike number 32 as well. Through turn 1 for the first time. It looks like everyone's made it through there safely, and we're at turn 2 and Henry Snell's in the lead. Yeah,
I don't know how long that'll last. Probably till about turn 4 Honda corner. But interesting, Glenn Nelson, when he takes off from the line, he actually stood on the peds as if he was stretching his leathers, which is a very unusual movement for someone with the intensity, well, when you're at the intensity of a start line.
So through Yamaha Revs Your Heart corner and down into turn 4. We can call it Honda Corner this weekend. We make jokes about it all the time, but it hasn't been officially Honda Corner here at Phillip Island for many, many years.
Yeah, 300 years or something, yeah.
Phillip Island people tell us every time, we've got a big crash at turn 4, a couple of riders down, a couple having to take evasive action.
Laura Brown.
Looks like the 222 machine, Lincoln Knight involved in that, and also Laura Brown. Didn't see exactly what happened there. We'll have a look at the AMX Superstores replay. And it looks like riders had to stand up in front. Laura's had nowhere to go and crashed into the rider in front. And then Lincoln Knight has had nowhere to go and crashed into Laura.
Gee, Laura, gets in some real situations. She had Wakefield Park a couple of years ago where she ended up breaking a leg. At least she's been able to walk away from that one okay. The world's fastest vet, or one of the world's fastest vets, that's for sure.
So that, incident at turn 4 is under investigation. I think they'll only have to look at the video once to see actually what happened.
Racing incident.
That's it. Henry Snell leads from Varis Fleming. Varis Fleming's been, I think this is his most successful weekend ever in racing terms, wouldn't it be, Braxy? 2 wins, I think, so far.
That is. He's broken through because he's got to keep in front of his brother, Tieran, because Tieran's starting to really knock some doors down as well as they come storming down this My Bike Insurance front straight for the second time. And look at them, 5-6 abreast as they come down the straight, and they all seem to funnel in and manage to get there through. So Henry Snell actually led that whole way down the straight from Teo Aksu. Varis Fleming in 3rd position, Glenn Nelson in 4th, Liam Waters in 5th. And Varis actually in English means carry on the family name with pride.
Well, he's certainly doing that this weekend.
And Tieran...
What does Tieran mean? Get into his slipstream and do the same?
Someone very special.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. But yeah, they are. And Varis is heading off to Europe on Tuesday, I think he is, to take part in the European Cup. So another one of the vast array of Australians that are going to all, well, you can't say corners of the globe, parts of the globe to compete in 2022 in various championships from America to England to Europe.
And what we've seen so far is that most of them have had a pretty good weekend. You think of Senna Agis, you think of Joe Marinello, some of the results that they've pulled out, and then they head off overseas with a massive amount of confidence. Great to see. Back at the front, it is Liam Waters on board bike number 181. He's had a pretty good weekend as well at the front quite regularly in the Supersport 300 and Yamaha Finance R3 Cup races, as Varis Fleming uses that unique line across the top of Alpine Stars and down into Pirelli Corner. Steve Martin said it's the perfect line for the last lap of a race.
And he thinks every last lap of he just wants to rehearse every last lap of the race.
So it is Nelson that leads, coming round through turn 12 to come out onto the start-finish straight, complete this second lap. So 5 laps to go as they come around now, as he gets that very aggressive positioning right on the bike. I think it would upset such a little bike with a move like that.
Yeah, he's getting rather tall. He's taller than me now, actually, Glenn. And he's, all these guys, you wonder why you don't recognise them, because 6 months ago they were 300 mil shorter than what they are today.
Well, even some of the OJC guys that raced last year, when they've turned up this year, it's just like they seem to have grown a foot in the off-season. They must have planted them in some manure and put plenty of water on them, Braxy, as they turned up here. They would have needed a new set of Recondi leathers.
They've had to a couple of times, talking to a few of them, swapping leathers between friends. So it's Henry Snell leading the way from Brody Gawitt, Taya Aksu. Great to see him come along. He's started in my juniors, and he was one that's grown. He's nearly 6 foot tall. When I first met him, he was about 150 millimetres tall.
He's certainly starting to fill out a little bit too. He's certainly no beanpole. That's, he will probably be fitting on a superbike or a supersport bike very soon, I'd say. Teo Aksu, as they make their way out of Siberia, Ducati Corner this weekend and up towards the top of the hill. This is where these bikes like to use the slipstream as they come through Suzuki. You can see them there, and the rider there sitting in 4th place, Liam Waters, starting to use a bit of slipstream advantage to try and go around the outside of Brody Gawitt as they come across the top of the hill at Alpine Stars and down into Pirelli. There goes Varis Fleming with that wide line. Actually, that wasn't anywhere near as wide as normal.
No, and it was Brody Gawitt was another tight line through there as well. But on their 3rd lap, they've got 4 laps to go at the end of this lap. It's still Henry Snell. He will be going for 3 wins in this category or not. He's doing pretty well lately. And it's amazing once they, like Glenn Nelson, after he got those results at the Bend, his level of confidence and level of performance have lifted. And who's coming up through the inside? That's Taya Aksu on bike number 91. I'd say he was inside the white line up against the pit wall there. And Brandon Gawitt on, Liam Waters again coming up through there to, well, will he lead momentarily? No, Henry's still there in front with a good battle as top 7 are split by just half a second.
Varis Fleming's corner entry speed into turn 2 there on that wide line was unbelievable. I think he was trying to get the bike actually slowed down without losing too much momentum. Look, he's carried the momentum out of turn 2. He's gone around the outside of a couple of them as they make their way through Rebjahart Corner and down into Honda Corner turn 4. down the inside, Brody Gorwith, how late was that on the brakes? He's actually lost a couple of positions there because he was so late on the front. The front end was going up and down like a pogo stick. Just couldn't brake that late and get the bike stopped and turned at the same time. And
probably a bit quick for his brain to react, going, holy hell, what's going on here? But yeah, Henry Snell, he's actually been pretty consistent in his leading this race so far.
Yep, Jordan Simpson dropping down through the field. Not sure what's happened there to bike number 23. Also, to the fastest man in this race so far, Jay Russo on the last lap was a 150.132. Previously before that, it was Mitch Simpson set the fastest lap of the race on the first flying lap, lap 2.
And Brandon Demery there in 9th position. Sam Bezzetta, he's been impressive, a young South Australian that's in the pit with Arthur CCs this year. But Henry Snell, he looks like he's running this race to perfection, but I'm sure he's going to get swamped again as they come down onto My Bike Motorcycle Insurance straight this time.
Been a pretty good weekend too for Hayden Nelson, the former Australian Junior Supermoto champion as well. Braxy, 14 years old, racing in the Supersport 300 category. And he could still be racing in the OJC, but, you know, he's taken the step up to this class and doing a really good job in his first full year of racing the bigger bike. Yeah, well, he had a wretched year last year, as you might remember, at Winton when he had that big crash on the Saturday afternoon, which forced him out for quite some time. But the young boy from Taree, Troy Baylor's country, and no wonder he's won a few dirt track titles after going around the oil track at Taree and up there at Kempsey as well, but a really good family as well. Nelson down the inside, smoke coming off Glenn Nelson's boot as he tried to get the bike stopped in there at turn 4. Hope we get an AMX Superstores replay of that one. It was a very smoky affair there for Nelson. So he sits in 3rd place at the moment as they make their way out of the bottom end of the circuit there. It's a massive drive up the hill here, and probably even more so on a Supersport 300 than most of the other bikes we've got here this week. And just demonstrating the difference that Henry Snell was leading coming out of Siberia, but now he's been dropped back to 5th position on bike number 12 with Brady Gorwith taking the lead on that. Well, that's another bright coloured bike on bike number 25, but Varis Fleming is sitting there in a good spot as well with 4th position, and Patrick Lee is taking all the credit for his first wins. That's surprising. The other thing is that I thought it was funny when Varis said that the first half of the race he thought that he'd let it go, but then the second half of the race everything came to him and he managed to get up there and take the win, and then he did the same thing again in another race. So maybe he should not be on fire in the first half of the race all the time, because when he does, he certainly has a good second half as well. Look at this, they're 5 abreast as they make their way down the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance start-finish straight, with Waters taking the lead momentarily until Cameron Dunker on board bike number 3 went past. Now, we've got a red flag, Braxy. Yep. Red flag, not sure where that's happened, but it's certainly not in this lead group. An incident somewhere at the top end of the circuit. But speaking of Cameron Dunker, he's been training incredibly hard in the off-season. Him and Max Stouffer are training together and pushing each other to do harder and faster and stronger. So doing a great job, Max, with Cameron Dunker, and also Cameron Dunker with Max. And they also doing a lot of work, not only in the gym, but also just on their physical fitness and training as well. Cam's father was at Pretty Handy Dirt Track with Jamie way back when, and they've been very good mates for a number of years, and that's where the link comes from. And I wouldn't be so geese on track at turn 8, so that's good to see that there was no incident. But with 5 laps down on their 6th lap, Phil, I'd say that will be race declared this afternoon for the Yamaha Finance R3 Cup. Yeah, and unfortunately it looks like a shortened final race for Brandon Demery. There's the geese on the track. Just having a little bit of a peck out there. They're rather nonchalant about bikes. They don't really seem to care that much. They've got the best viewing position in the entire Phillip Island complex. And they mate for life, so there's always 2 of them. You don't see them by themselves very often, and they're very sociable birds as well, so they hang around together and go out and have a bit of an afternoon tea. Right, so race 3 being declared. Looks like Cameron Dunker has taken the win. That would be his first win in the Supersport 300 category. He has been on the podium before, but that would be his first win, ahead of Liam Waters on 181, and Henry Snell rounds out the podium. He finished 3rd in the R3 Cup last year, if I remember rightly too, did Cameron Dunker. Plenty more action coming up here, but we're back to talk to our top three from the Yamaha Finance R3 Cup after this short break.
Hi.
Hi.
We were thinking of having a cruisy day.
Maybe grab a pastry and a coffee.
See some street art.
Maybe go to a museum.
Grab a gelato.
And have afternoon tea.
Any suggestions?
AMMF can help power your passion. We offer flexible, tailored finance solutions to motorcycle and marine customers Australia-wide. Our motorcycle and marine specialists can help you finance your motorcycle, scooter, personal watercraft or boat package with quick and easy approvals, fixed rate terms, flexible finance options and competitive rates. Call AMMF on 1300 263 123 or visit the website today.
Tinnies, a quintessential part of Australian boating. We love them for their versatility, durability, and most importantly, for producing everlasting memories on the water. The ultimate tinny setup demands the ultimate outboard motor, and Suzuki's large range of portable and mid-size outboards are the perfect choice for the Aussie fisherman.
Well, today was important to adapt these tires to the bike because for me it was the first time to use these tires here in Portimao, and sincerely was quite good. I get ready very soon on this track, so was a good day. Yeah, it comes really quick, sincerely, because these tires a bit soft, and especially I like to feel when the bike is closing, when the front is closing, all of this. So for this reason, I adapt well. The performance is quite nice. I did 53 laps this morning, and the rear soft looks quite nice. So this is a good thing.
Welcome back to Phillip Island, continuing action from the first round of the 2022 My Bike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championships presented by Motul. Unfortunately, our Yamaha Finance R3 Cup race has been declared after 5 laps of the 7-lap journey due to the Cape Barren geese sitting on the side of the circuit. But we've got our top 3 back into Park for May. There with Kate.
Exactly, the geese, Glenn Nelson, P3, well done. Unfortunately, it was a slightly shortened race, but you still got a podium.
Yeah, after the Supersport 300 race, we didn't know we would get out, so I'd like to thank all my sponsors, AGV, Recondi, Dynaworks, Food Sport Boots, everyone for helping me, and it's just been a decent weekend.
Exactly, a decent weekend. You'll be back for more at Queensland Raceway.
Oh, for sure.
Great, thanks so much, Glenn. And in P2, Jai Rosso. Jai, welcome to the podium.
Thank you. It's my first podium. I'm so happy to be here.
Tell me about it.
Oh, I didn't even know I was going to get red flag, but I'm so happy. Thank you to everyone that made this possible, and the shout out to the geese.
Yeah, shout out to the geese. Thanks, Jay. And in P1, this is not your first time here today. Darius Fleming, another great podium for you. Congrats.
Yeah, I was a bit confused when the red flags came out, and me and Jai were crossing the line. I thought he had won when the red flags did come out. I'd like to thank my sponsors, Mogo, Suspension Pro, KYT Helmets Australia, the Grinning Dingo, and my friends and parents for their support.
Excellent stuff, Darius. Congratulations, and you can thank the geese too.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you, KP, and thank you to those geese. Jay Russo would like to thank you personally for getting onto the track, so he got second place in that race. So championship points after 3 races here this weekend. We have Varus Fleming on 70 points, Glenn Nelson on 61, and Henry Snell on 50 as our top 3. Then we also have Liam Waters in 4th place on 45, Brandon Demery on 43, and Teo Aksu on 43. Superbike Masters is coming up next, and plenty of bikes that hark back to a former era. And Steve Martin, you're experienced with a lot of those bikes. I'm sure you're going to be interested to watch this race. But there's the stars of the future. We're looking at them right there. Varus Fleming, he has had a cracking weekend. 70 points heading into round number 2, and a 9-point lead over Glenn Nelson in 2nd place. Now, Superbike Masters coming up after this very short break here from Phillip Island.
For us, the journey is not about the destination. The journey starts long before we hit the road. The gear we wear, the way it feels, and the safety it brings. Some say the journey never ends, but it has to start. Start your journey with AMX Superstores. Why? Because we ride too. Enjoy the journey with AMX Superstores.
Twisties. Nailing the perfect landing. Leaning into every corner. Losing yourself on the open road. There's no feeling like it. The howl of the wind in your ears. Feeling every vibration. Every inch of the tarmac. Just right.
Welcome back to Phillip Island, getting ready for the Superbike Masters race number 3. Scott Campbell will start from pole position. Murray Clark and Corey Ford joining him on the front row of the grid. Then it's the 2-stroke of John Allen, bike number 37. Keep your eye on that out of row 2, along with Scotty Webster and Phil Burke on that magnificent RC30. Row 3, Dean Castleton, Bradley Phelan and Philip Bevan. Steve, you've had plenty of experiences with these bikes and you've raced against a lot of these guys before.
Oh, I certainly have. Glenn Crutchley on row 4, James Agamar on the TZ750, beautiful machine out of 11th. 12th is Michael Maloney. Row 5 starts with Aaron Bennett, Stephen Harley, and then Ian Short, who's an ex-racer from many years ago, making his way back into it. Albert Tefanipi, who we know who's a good little rider too on the Kawasaki, and a couple of other guys winding out the field there. Massive field here for this one, Phil, and I tell you what, there's a different array of bikes out there.
Yeah, 4 strokes, 2 strokes, twin cylinders, 4 cylinders, 3 cylinders. And I think the other great thing is we love the Superbike Masters when they run with ASBK. These are the bikes that essentially were the Superbikes of many years ago. But also congratulations to all of the guys on their presentation, but also the work done by Big Darren Lark to make sure that this happens. He's been, well, consistent in his efforts to try and make sure the Superbike Masters get to ride with ASBK at least once or twice a year.
Yeah, absolutely. It's what we're looking at here is the history of Superbike racing, not only around the world but also in Australia. Most of these machines will have been raced here in Australia at some point in time. That one we're looking at now going backwards is a Bimota with the Yamaha FZR 1000 engine, Italian-made frame, almost an F1 bike, way ahead of its time. In reality, a beautiful looking machine.
Looked like he was way ahead of his grid position as well.
Way ahead.
Had to push him all the way back. So getting ready now for the Superbike Masters. Off on their warm-up lap. Righto. Looks like it might be a race start. You didn't see the light come on.
Well, pretty quick.
Looks like a pretty quick start there, so it's definitely racing going on now as Superbike Masters are go as we head down towards turn 1 for the first time. The first of 5 laps. It is Scott Campbell on that bike number 29. He's riding the RC30 here this weekend. Incidentally, the first bike he ever rode was an RC30 when he stole it out of his dad's garage to see if he could ride it. Of course,
yeah.
Mal Campbell, a fair bit of experience with the RC30s.
Oh, absolutely. He's been everywhere and won everything with an RC30 as Mal Campbell. He was the absolute legend. There's Scotty Webster on his big Moto Martin riding an array of different machines this weekend. There could be a Harris actually that he's on. He's got a couple of different bikes here this weekend.
Yep.
That
He's on the TC Racing Harris in this one, but the Moto Martin was sitting over there before. Looked absolutely sensational.
Yeah. Good start there by Scott Campbell with Murray Clark behind him. Now, there's a couple of different classes in here too. Scotty Campbell is on the 750 machine and Murray Clark is on his 1100. Which can be up to 1200, so who knows the real capacity of the motor, but definitely going to have a speed advantage, will Murray Clark, once they wind up down the straight.
Yeah, I think he's got about, from yesterday and Friday, about a 22 kilometre an hour top speed advantage over Scott Campbell on board the 750. Speaking of 750s, Phil Burke on board bike number 62. He reckons there's nothing special about the rider, but his bike is actually from Japan, and at last actually raced in a Japanese race over there quite a few years ago. But Phil Burke is a very, very handy rider that's been riding for many years, so I think he might be selling himself a little bit short there.
Yeah, it's sounding that way, isn't it? I mean, those Honda RC30s are a beautiful bike, they really are. But you can see there the number 33 of James Agamar, his TZ750. Making its way forward. Of course, the TZ750 is a 2-stroke racing machine from about the late 70s, 78 I think the last one of those was produced, so lots of different capacities. They spend so much time restoring those bikes, and I guess the value between the different ones is amazing too. Like the 750s are now fetching around $80,000 thereabouts. You compare that to the bike behind it, which looks like it's an old GSX 1100, I think. They, like anywhere from 15 to 25 grand now. But the thing is, you buy that bike once and you can race it for 10, 15 years.
Well, the other thing is that with the TZs, they had trouble with cases and everything. A lot of the cases are actually made here in Australia. That was certainly the case with Johnny Allen's machine, but I can't see John Allen out there actually, and he is certainly one of the fastest TZ riders in the country. Another TZ rider that's very fast that's not out there this weekend too is Craig Ditchburn. They've had some problems with their machine, and that's very unusual because the machines built by Craig and his dad Barry are usually very, very reliable. Well,
the issue with the TZs here this weekend, something strange with the weather. They've been, both of the different teams have been going leaner and leaner and leaner and leaner, and it's got to a point where I think they've gone, well, we're that lean, we're too scared, something's going on. They couldn't figure it out. That's the thing with these guys. They don't want to risk the upteenth. These bikes aren't as reliable as, let's say, the modern day superbikes. They are on a little bit of a knife edge.
Well, that's what Jimmy Agomba was actually saying, that he just said, no, richen it up a bit more, because he doesn't want to be going down into turn 1 and the thing having some sort of issue. He said, because it's a very long straight here at Phillip Island, so the bike is on the pot for a fairly long time. But Murray Clark, the evergreen Murray Clark, would have to be into his, well, I don't know how many years of racing now, but we did actually find a program at Queensland Raceway when we were there many years ago with ASBK. And I think it was early 90s. Murray Clark was racing in the Superbike class in the Australian Superbike Championship.
Absolutely. I think he used to race against me way back in the day. Way back in the day. But I tell you what, he's always got a smile on his face, and he's enjoying himself out there on that GSXR 750/1100.
He's actually got a little logo on the side of his screen because he does demolition in the mines, in the blast crew and everything, and he's got the little picture of Murray Clark with the, well, he used to have red hair and some explosions going off and everything. It's quite a good little graphic that he's got there, and he's putting a fair bit of explosive power into the rear tyre of that machine to get up onto the back of Scott Campbell as they make their way up towards the top of Alpine Stars now. He's slowly reeling Alpine Stars, the RC30 of Scott Campbell in as they go across Alpine Stars. Of course, that RC30 is actually owned by Peter Howes, who links to Steve. You were saying that you actually rode one of Peter's bikes many years ago.
Yeah, I raced one of them. Who knows? It could even have been that one. Well, I actually raced one at the Island Classic, either that one or the other one that he's got. And then I also raced one back in perhaps 1996 or 97 to win the Victorian Super Bike Championship, I think it was back then. I didn't have a bike, and he just fronted up and said, "Here, ride this," and it was the best thing I ever rode in my life. Unbelievable.
So just looking at these two now, both of them, as you mentioned, in different classes. They're both in Period 6, but Period 6 750 for Scott Campbell and Period 6 Unlimited for Murray Clark. You saw a quick shot there of Jimmy Agomba, who is a multiple champion back in the UK, UK 250 production champion, British endurance champion, 11th in the World Endurance Championship in 2003, Hartwell senior champion, finisher in all of the 24-hour races too at Le Mans, Boulder, Spa and Oschersleben. You'd know how hard that is.
Very hard. The only problem that Jimmy's got is he doesn't know how to count because he started in the wrong grid spot, so he's been penalised some spots. So he could learn how to count and make it all worthwhile. But,
possibly a concern because he is a school teacher.
Well,
luckily he teaches PE.
PE, fair enough, but luckily not math.
There's Ian Short on board bike number 64, a magnificent looking machine that we were inspecting on Friday. A guy that I think you've said you've raced against plenty of times before. Yep. Not too far behind him is Glenn Crutchley on that magnificent P&M Kawasaki as well.
Yeah, Ian Short's another one of those guys that is sort of like just getting back into it after many years out of the sport. There's that motor that we talked about earlier on. Beautiful, beautiful machine. God knows what they're worth. P&M Kawasaki there. 2-valve Kawasaki. They've always struggled a little bit for speed compared to the 4-valve Suzukis that everyone else is using, but just such a beautiful handling bike that they make up for it with the handling.
That was the advantage of running those Formula One chassis, but of course with the class, with the rules that they are at the moment, Glenn Crutchley's actually got to run in the P5 F1 class as opposed to the P5 Unlimited class, so he's up against other Harrises and bikes like that. There are quite a few the Formula One style machines out there, a few Harrises, and also I think the chassis that Ian Short is using is actually a CMR chassis, yeah, not a Harris. Looks very similar, but it's slightly different.
The CMR chassis is pretty sure it comes out of Canada.
Yeah, I think a few of the Americans used them in the Island Classic a couple of years ago.
It's the one that the Americans use, and obviously they were laying down some pretty impressive lap times when they were here on those. But they had like modern FJ 1200 engines in them at that point, which we have just started allowing, I believe. But, you know, it's all got to do with the rules. Very hard to try and understand the rules in this class. Just better off watching the guys racing against each other and talking about how fantastic each bike is.
Well, Murray Clark is on a charge. He's just set the fastest lap of the race on the last lap, which has brought him right up onto the ducktail of the Peter Howes prepared RC30, ridden by Scott Campbell, bike number 29. Of course, Scott Campbell is a very well-credentialed rider as well, from a front runner in the Australian Supersport Championship, has ridden in Superbike as well. And with a name like Campbell, you wouldn't be surprised to know that he's done some pretty good stuff, including winning the Stars of Tomorrow on a CBR 600.
Wow, that's pretty impressive stuff, isn't it?
Well, he would have been racing against Superbikes back in that time,
yeah,
with the Stars of Tomorrow.
Oh, Scotty Campbell was like a legend racer back in the day. I mean, you know, with a dad like Mal Campbell,
Well, he takes the checkered flag. Scott Campbell with a very small margin of .476 over Murray Clark. I think Murray Clark had taken victory in the 2 races beforehand, and Scott Campbell second, but they're in different
Oh, look at
categories.
this. How close is this?
Well, it's Scotty Webster just getting the run to the line over Phil Burke. Once again, they're in completely different classes as well. Doesn't stop them having a sensational battle to the line, and they say thank you to each other for the battle.
Absolutely.
So Scott Campbell was in the period 6 750 class, who took the race win. Murray Clark was in the period 6 unlimited class. Scott Webster in the period 5 F1 class, and Phil Burke in the period 6 750 class. So our top 4 covering 3 different classes.
Yeah, good to see. Good to see that it mixes it all up. Just saw a shot of Aaron Bennett shooting across the line as well. Michael Maloney there. Good job by him. Glenn Crutchley in 8th position. Stephen Harley there too. Karen Webb out there. So that was good to see her out there as well. And
she's a regular campaigner in any class where there's period 6 machines. There goes Pat Pavoni on board bike number 5. I've actually ridden that machine.
Have you?
At the Broadford Bike Bonanza quite a few years ago when it was ridden by, it was owned by Roger Spud Arnold at that time.
Yep.
There's Greg James, the farmer from northern New South Wales.
Yep. They're
also a ZRX owner as well too, Steve Martin.
Well,
they're everywhere.
They are. Darren Lark's just about to come over the line as well. Craig Hunter there. Mark Rodder, good result from him too. So yeah, no, it's
and that
really
131 machine of Paul Rigney is absolutely sensational as well. But Scott Campbell takes the win over Murray Clark. Scott Webster takes 3rd place, fractionally ahead of Phil Burke in 4th. Aaron Bennett on board bike number 32 was 5th, with Jimmy Agomba, Michael Maloney, Glenn Crutchley, Ian Short and Steve Harley on the Bermuda rounding out the top 10.
Phillip Bevan in 11th, Patrick Pavolini in 12th, Paul Rigney in 13th, Gregory James, Karen Webb gets that last point, Mark Rodder there in 16th, Craig Hunter 17th and Darren Lark in 18th.
Well done to Darren Lark for getting it all organised. A few more things to tie up here at Phillip Island. The first round of the 2022 My Bike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championships. Back after this short break.
To adapt to the tires, to be honest, it didn't take a crazy amount of time, you know. For sure with the Superbike the tires are softer, but in general we were able to adapt and find a great feeling, and to be honest, the difference or the feeling difference is not so much between this and the tires we would run on a cold weekend. To be honest, it was a little harder the first laps, but I didn't know the circuit. But immediately, as soon as I was ready to push, the tires were there and ready to go immediately. Yeah, the performance has been really good overall for the amount of laps we can make and the consistent performance of the tires. I've been really surprised with this, to be able to do 40 something laps with the tires and have no issues. Still doing some of my best times at the end. So the durability is amazing.
We're thinking of grabbing a bite tonight. Any new places close by?
Well, actually... weekend is also.
Oh,
I think 20 is enough.
yeah, that should do us.
Welcome back to Phillip Island. There's not much left to do here at the first round of the championship, but we need to speak to our top three from the Superbike Masters. They're making their way back to Parc Fermé. But once again, a massive thank you to Visit Phillip Island as we say goodbye to this magnificent place. But back down to you, KP.
Indeed, in P3 is Scott Webster on the Harris Suzuki 1200. Now, I hear you're a troublemaker. You're causing trouble out there. Well done, a P3 to wrap this weekend.
Thank you very much, Kate. Just a quick thank you to TC and the crew. Magnificent job. MA for letting us in. Spectators, the flaggies once again. Terrific job. Thank you all.
Excellent stuff. Well done, Scott. And in P2, we have Murray Clark on the Suzuki GSXR. Now, that is a nice bike. What is it like to ride these bikes around a track like this? Because that just looks so much fun.
It is a lot of fun, but it's also hard work as well. You know, they're old bikes. So, yeah, they're a lot of hard work. They don't have any aids of anything, any kind. So, yeah, hard work.
But you had a great couple of laps out there.
I did. I wanted to go for the trifecta, but again, some gear selection problems on the very last lap. Couldn't make a run for the win.
Yeah, that's what happens with old bikes, I guess. But congratulations on P2. Well done. And the winner of our final Superbike Masters is Scott Campbell on a Honda RC30, which is a stunning bike. We've got quite a few fans here for you, Scott. So tell us about your race. You were out in front quite well.
Yeah, it was good to have a win after coming second in the two previous races. I was certainly out to beat Murray in this one, so yeah, it's good to have a win, even though I'd been winning the 750 class outright. It's good to have an outright win in the race itself, so yeah, happy days.
Yeah, excellent stuff. Well done, boys. Congratulations.
Cheers, thank you.
Thanks very much, Kate. Great to hear from our top three in the Superbike Masters. And yes, all of them from three different categories, the three riders on the podium. Well, there's plenty more action coming up. Of course, we're just about ready to be done here at Phillip Island, the first round of the championship. What a weekend it's been. Not too long to wait, though, for more action. Round 2 at Queensland Raceway on the 18th to the 20th of March. Round 3, Wakefield Park at Goulburn in New South Wales. The spectator circuit, always a massive crowd there, the 22nd to the 24th of April. Then it's up to the Hidden Valley Raceway with the supercars in June. Superbikes only at that round, the 17th to the 19th of June. Back to Morgan Park Raceway in Queensland, another crowd favourite, the 5th to the 7th of August. Symmons Plains in Tasmania, haven't been to Tasmania for many years, looking forward to heading back there on the 20th to the 23rd of October. Back here at Phillip Island in November, and then the Bend Motorsport Park for the grand finale, the 2nd to the 4th of December. Pro MX coming up very soon at the Wonthaggi round, not too far here from Phillip Island, the 27th of March. Round 2 at Mackay in Queensland, the 10th of April. Round 3 at Wodonga in Victoria, the 1st of May. Round 4 at Gilman in South Australia on the 29th of May. Then round 5 at Maitland in the Hunter Valley in New South Wales, the 26th of June. 24th of July, round 6 at Coffs Harbour. 14th of August, round 7 at Queensland Moto Park. And then the Coolum final round, round 8 of the championship on the 20th to the 21st of August. The Australian Off-Road Championship also has 8 rounds this year. We've got rounds 1 and 2 at Jarrabah in Queensland, round 3 and 4 in Mackay in Queensland, round 5 and 6 at Kyogle in New South Wales, round 7 and 8 at Nowra in New South Wales, round 9 and 10 at Kingston in South Australia, and rounds 11 and 12 at Wynyard in Tasmania on the 8th to the 9th of October. For more information, go to the respective calendars, AORC, for all of the Off-Road Information Championship. Back down to UKP and Steve.
Thanks, Phil. Yes, I've got Steve with me. Steve, let's talk about this wonderful weekend that we've just wrapped at Phillip Island. Excellent racing, excellent weather, and a few excellent, or not so excellent, geese.
Yeah, I mean, we did have a few stoppages. I guess we'll start from the geese because it did get someone their first podium, didn't it? I forget.
Very true.
Yeah, so, I mean, that was, you know, good for the geese and good for that guy, but yeah, good for the gander. But in all honesty, I think it's been a fantastic weekend. It's showing us many things. It's showing us that although Wayne Maxwell is strong, he's not invincible. although he did come back and win that second race, didn't he?
That's true. I mean, it was very uncharacteristic for Wayne to come off like he did, but it's amazing his mental strength to be able to get back onto a bike that's not his normal bike and come through and win in the second race.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was just a mammoth effort what he did, but I mean, I wouldn't expect anything different because that's what like a World Championship rider would do, and although he's here riding in this championship, which is, in my opinion, World Championship level because of guys like him, I mean, he's just like, that's what he needs to do to win the championship. He's back in the points at the moment, so he won't want to let that happen again. But on top of that, we had some other great aspects, with riders. Look at Brian Starring. I mean, he's got on that Desmo Sport Ducati. He's brought it to the front. He's won a race. He pushed Maxwell perhaps into that problem. His suspension guy is not here this weekend. He's at home on the couch with COVID. So perhaps when he gets better and gets back, he might, Brian Starring might make those tweaks in the right direction for the second race and push it to it. Josh Waters, another guy. I mean, Waters was like pretty much, he'd be bored by the way that he performed. I mean, it's the best that we've seen him ride in a couple of years, so really, really impressed with that.
Yeah, exactly, and I mean, these are all ASBK champs, so it's just amazing the level of talent within the field, and they're all hunting for their next one, especially to get into that fourth, that elusive, well, it doesn't even exist yet, to get 4 ASBK titles, so they're all going to be pretty hungry after this weekend, especially Brian, who'd like his second one, but he's got the taste of winning now, so I say let's watch, keep an eye on Brian because he's taking it to Wayne.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, he's an absolute legend. But he's not going to have it all his own way either because, like, this year everyone's, like, egging everyone on. I mean, look at Crew Halliday and what he did today. Crew Halliday came, he got a terrible start in race 1, worked his way through the pack, caught up to Mike Jones, who's mentally strong, passed him and was able to, get that podium. But, like the Yamaha team, when I looked at Halliday on the podium, he was all, good. But when I was looking at him just over there, when he was talking to his team, it was all like, we need to do this and that, because he's not happy with just a little podium. He wants to get a win.
And it's great. It's great to see that hunger in him. We'd like to see him put that Yamaha right up there for the end of the season. But something else that we've got coming up is the Osmoto Show, which is our fantastic motorcycling panel show where you can catch up on all of the best motorcycling sport that happens in Australia. That's happening on SBS on March 13th. And also, we've got Queensland Raceway next.
Yeah, I can't wait to get there. I mean, that's a track that I've ridden around before, and it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of overtaking in the braking areas there. You have to be brave. There's just such a variance of things. I think we could see other bikes come to the fore there as well. We know that we just had a test up there. The BMWs, they worked well up there. So it might just mix things up a little bit. We haven't been there for a few years.
Exactly. It's exciting stuff. I cannot wait. Make sure you're watching and head to asbk.com.au for all the details. Thanks so much, Steve. It's been an excellent weekend.
It certainly has been an excellent weekend. Roll on the next one.